Welcome to our U.S. briefing show. Today, we're diving into the heated political chess game between President Trump and the Federal Reserve. Trump is ramping up his criticism of Fed Chair Jerome Powell, not just with words but through coordinated tactics aimed at swaying monetary policy. While the White House isn't trying to fire Powell outright, yet, they're subtly undermining the Fed's independence by pressuring other members and influencing decisions, all in hopes of benefiting his economic agenda. It's a high-stakes game of influence, with Trump eyeing potential replacements like Kevin Warsh or Kevin Hassett, trying to shape the future of U.S. monetary policy. Next, we turn to the escalating trade tensions. Trump's latest tariff threats could make everyday goods more expensive. Over the past few months, tariffs on imports like steel, aluminum, and cars have already jumped significantly, and now, Trump plans to impose even higher tariffs, up to 50% on dozens of countries. This could push prices on everything from appliances to coffee sky high, impacting consumers nationwide. Companies are stockpiling and strategizing to delay costs, but ultimately, these tariffs might lead to a noticeable hike in the cost of living for many Americans. Finally, there's buzz about a potential high-level meeting between Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping. According to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, a summit is highly likely this year as both leaders look to de-escalate tensions amid ongoing trade disputes. This diplomatic move aims to improve communication, find common ground, and possibly foster some much-needed cooperation in an otherwise tense geopolitical climate. It's a promising sign that both superpowers might be stepping back from conflict and looking toward a more strategic partnership. Please continue to stay tuned for more details. CNN reports that President Donald Trump's relentless and escalating verbal assaults on Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell are part of a broader, coordinated effort by his advisors to exert pressure on the Fed's independence. Despite Powell's steadfast refusal to bend to Trump's demands for lower interest rates, the White House has now engaged in a series of bureaucratic maneuvers, including scrutinizing legal compliance and attempting to influence the composition of the Federal Reserve's oversight bodies. These moves, spearheaded by loyal officials like Russell Vought, are not necessarily aimed at removing Powell immediately but are designed to undermine his authority and the Fed's autonomy, reflecting Trump's desire to leverage political power over monetary policy. The administration's strategic efforts also include considering the appointment of a more compliant Fed chair, with figures like Kevin Warsh and Kevin Hassett viewed as potential candidates, highlighting a long-standing desire to reshape the central bank's leadership to align with Trump's economic agenda. However, legal and market constraints have so far prevented any direct attempt to oust Powell, as the risk of market turmoil and protracted legal battles loom large, deterring Trump from taking such drastic steps despite his public frustration. AP details the upcoming special election in Washington, D.C., where residents of Ward 8 will vote to fill a vacant city council seat following the expulsion of Tryon White amid federal corruption investigations. Despite White's legal troubles, he was re-elected with a commanding 76% of the vote in 2024, underscoring his political strength in a heavily Democratic district. The election features 4 Democratic candidates, including White himself, and is set against a backdrop of significant fiscal challenges facing the city, such as a $1 billion federal budget shortfall and contentious negotiations over a $4 billion stadium deal with the Washington Commanders. Voter turnout historically remains low in such special elections, often around 14 to 24%, with many ballots cast early by mail or in advance. The results are awaited with anticipation, but the process emphasizes the district's deep democratic leanings and the importance of local governance amid ongoing financial and political tensions. CNN reports that Trump's recent threats of tariffs could significantly raise the cost of numerous goods for American consumers, potentially leading to widespread sticker shock. While inflation has remained relatively subdued so far, the president's latest package of tariffs, which could reach an average rate unseen in over a century, threaten to increase prices on everything from gasoline and appliances to electronics and clothing. Businesses have been stockpiling inventory and employing legal strategies to delay tariff payments, but these short-term measures cannot shield consumers forever. For example, tariffs on Canadian oil, Chinese appliances, and South Korean electronics could push prices upward, with sectors like automobiles, copper wiring, and consumer electronics facing the highest risks. Although Trump claims that foreign exporters will bear the costs, analysts warn that the eventual pass-through to consumers could be substantial, especially if tariffs on key imports like copper, steel, and aluminum are implemented at the proposed levels. As the deadline approaches, Americans may soon feel the impact at the checkout counter, with higher prices on everyday goods becoming increasingly likely. CNN reports that there is a significant likelihood of a meeting between President Donald Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping this year, according to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. During his visit to Kuala Lumpur, Rubio highlighted that both nations are eager to hold talks, although no specific date has been set. His discussions with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi were described as constructive and positive, emphasizing a shared desire to improve diplomatic communication and build trust. Amid ongoing trade tensions, tariffs, and regional influence struggles, both sides see this potential summit as an opportunity to foster strategic stability and explore areas of cooperation, despite disagreements over trade policies and China's regional assertiveness. The Associated Press details the upcoming special congressional primaries in Arizona's 7th District, where 8 candidates compete to succeed the late Representative Raul Grijalva. The district, heavily Democratic and spanning from Yuma to Tucson, is crucial in the broader context of shifting congressional control. Democratic contenders include Grijalva's daughter Adelita, backed by prominent party figures and progressive leaders, and others like Daniel Hernandez, a former intern who gained national recognition after the Giffords shooting. The Republican side features small business owners with limited political experience. Voter turnout remains low, but early voting indicates a competitive race, especially in populous counties like Pima and Maricopa, with the winner set to serve out the remaining months of Grijalva's term. Yahoo US discusses the alarming formation of President Trump's Religious Liberty Commission, which threatens to undermine the separation of church and state in the U.S. This predominantly Christian nationalist group aims to produce a report advocating for the reintegration of Christian principles into American governance, potentially reversing decades of legal progress. Its members, including prominent evangelical figures and conservative politicians, focus on rewriting history, reshaping the judiciary, and promoting Christian dominance in public life. The Commission's agenda includes challenging the separation of church and state, advocating for prayer in schools, and restricting LGBTQ+ rights, especially targeting transgender individuals. Critics warn that this initiative could legitimize discrimination and erode the foundational secular principles of American democracy, endangering the rights of minorities and non-believers alike. NPR reports that Escambia County's decision to partner with ICE has sparked intense community opposition, with residents voicing fears over constitutional violations, family separations, and racial bias. During a heated county commission meeting, many speakers, including young residents and community leaders, expressed concern that supporting ICE's enforcement efforts would escalate fear and undermine community safety. Critics argue that the partnership, which delegates immigration enforcement duties to local corrections officers, risks wrongful detentions and racial profiling, especially given ICE's controversial reputation. Despite the county's assurances that the agreement is procedural and that detainees will have due process, opponents see it as a moral and constitutional threat, emphasizing that local tax dollars should not fund federal immigration enforcement that tears families apart. Some commissioners, like Luman May, voiced solidarity with vulnerable populations, quoting historical precedents of government overreach, while others supported the initiative, citing the importance of controlling immigration and crime. The vote was close, illustrating a community divided over the contentious issue of immigration enforcement at the local level. According to Yahoo, the promise of artificial intelligence transforming healthcare is compelling but remains a work in progress, with widespread adoption happening gradually. AI's potential to revolutionize medicine, through rapid, precise diagnoses, personalized treatment, and more efficient hospital operations, could save hundreds of billions annually and save countless lives. Yet, technical limitations like algorithmic drift, which causes AI systems to falter in real-world scenarios, and biases embedded in training data, particularly racial and ethnic biases, hinder full integration. Ethical concerns about data privacy, transparency, and accountability further complicate adoption, as many AI models operate as black boxes, making it difficult for clinicians to understand or trust their recommendations. Currently, AI is mainly used to streamline administrative tasks and assist radiologists, with only a small fraction of physicians relying on AI for diagnostic decisions. Experts believe that healthcare's transition to AI will be incremental, requiring years of rigorous testing, ethical safeguards, and cultural shifts before its full potential can be realized, emphasizing cautious optimism over overnight transformation. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6 Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6 team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6 Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6 Brief via email.
Waking up to wonders, tech and nature blunders. Got our rockets flying while the oceans are sighing. Lasers in the sky now.